Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. We are here with the Soulmate Snapshot that we talked about in yesterday's reading, and this is about why is this not getting any easier? I've gotten this question from you guys in a few different forms, and some of you have asked it quite directly. I feel like time is passing, and I've never had something bother me quite this long. Why is this not getting any easier? Or maybe it isn't even that long. It's not improving. Why does it seem like it's not improving? So that's what we're going to look into, and really just not just what is it about this that's making it not improve, but also what does that mean for you and what can you do about it. So it's going to be a general reading for this collective, and of course it's going to be this is one that I think, it's a very special soulmate snapshot for me because it feels like one of those questions where there's some frustration that we need to address. And it's, you guys have in some cases been going through this for weeks, some of you months, some of you years. And there comes a point where you just have to honor the fact that it is very challenging. I was saying it's a general reading for this collective because it won't resonate with everybody. It's not supposed to resonate with everybody. With some people, it will resonate, and you're going to realize, oh my goodness, I've got to watch some of the other videos. I've got to subscribe. And that's exactly what I'm hoping that you're the one that this finds, because otherwise it's just so frustrating. This is something that takes a lot of energy for a long time. So it does feel like a marathon. It does put you under some long-term stress. And just it's valid to ask the question why it doesn't seem to be getting any easier. That's not complaining. That's legitimately wondering if maybe there's something that we can do that changes the path. So we'll start by looking at the general energy. And it's the general energy for today. We've got the scribe in reverse. So this is the concept of not keeping track, not being able to just allowing things to kind of go any which way. Far messier than you would generally allow things to get. And this is even if you don't consider yourself to be a neat freak. There's a limit, and this is beyond your limit. It's allowing things to go beyond your limit, beyond what your limit is for being comfortable. But I see you still trying to find some comfort in it and actually doing kind of a decent job with that. I'm using these decks because they are incredibly intuitive. Just really intuitive and not necessarily the same as the traditional. They're both based on the traditional tarot, but I was looking for something that I was just going to dive in and feel around. So this is water energy, and it's the concept of harmony. This is that concept that kind of you are allowing to pervade you. One of the things that you seem to be unable to create is the concept of nothingness. And so this is where a meditation would be useful, but you are using your own internal harmony to kind of get past it. This is how you're dealing with this mess, because instead of being able to check out completely, you are using something that's kind of an internal strength for yourself, and that's just in today's energy. There's something, must be a lot going on that you feel like you don't have a ton of control over. So this is fire energy, and it's like a knight. So you can see that it's the energy of motion. It's the energy of intensity. We still have some of that Lionsgate energy coming through, and just kind of, it's pushing its way through. But with your harmony energy there, you're really kind of, this is an amazing ability to go with the flow, and it feels like it's more you than your person. So now we've got what's kind of like a 10 of air. There's pain that is happening here, but there's also this concept of transmutation. Okay, it says rebirth, all right, and it's air energy, but it's very much a sense of transmutation and taking something that exists and simply adjusting it into something that is a little bit different. Okay, this is about this is a card of silence, but it's in the reverse, and so it's like I was listening for what the best words are to answer, and it feels instead like silence and calm. It feels like hesitation and a lack of calm. That's a little bit of under the current, the undercurrent here. It's lucky that you've got this harmony feeling that's happening there, because, and here's where it's coming from, but it's good that you're having that, because there's a lot that kind of is super intense. It's not even necessarily bad. It's just a super intense energy coming to you today. So this is the Queen of Earth energy. This is that I've got my self-worth all in line. I'm feeling pretty confident, even if things go poorly and I'm the one that's up on stage when it happens. I'm still going to be okay with this. It's that heavy harmony energy. It's what enables this rebirth energy to happen in kind of a calm way. Then we've got a card of aloneness, but it's not so much a card of aloneness as finding that inner light and wisdom, okay? So you see the light that's here, and you see that this person is supposed to be alone, but the concept is this is finding that connection to the inner self. It's very much like the high priestess might feel, only it's more in the area of wisdom. But yet we've still got the seven. This is a card of stress, and yet it's kind of feeling like you've got this. There's maybe a lot going on, and I guess I feel like we're just seeing the same concepts over and over again here with this. There's a lot of a feeling like something intense is going on, but you are somehow figuring out how to keep it all in balance, and it has a lot to do with this Queen of Earth sort of energy. So this is like a cacophony of energy that you are somehow just sort of navigating your way through. It's like a super busy hall in a high school, and you're just kind of weaving your way through somewhat peacefully, even though there's all these things going on around you. That's the kind of energy that's here, and it really does feel more like you than your person. So with that, I'm super curious to understand the question of today. Why isn't this getting any easier? Because it feels to me here like you are inciting the right things in yourself. It would be great to be able to check out, but checking out is not always the right answer. And you're finding the peace in the throng, that seems like the way to go. So let us know, even with all that, looking for the healing, going in the right direction, why does it seem like it's not getting any easier? Let's see, how did that fall? Those fell face down. So we won't use those. Sometimes they fall face up and I use them. This was not one of those times. Let's see. So we want two of those cards, the two that sort of flip themselves up there. Okay, so we've got fire and we've got air. The air is in the reverse. It's an 8 of air. This is not being bound by your own overthinking, okay? And so this is not the current state of things, but it's the ideal state. You would like to not be bound by your own overthinking. You need to be able to let things just sort of flow and to feel very confident about the fact that you're protected and gonna come through this okay. But it's harder and harder to feel that the more time goes on, because it feels like, why isn't the pain retracting more quickly? Why does it seem like it's creating issues? And that throws you into more of that feeling of overthinking. Even though I feel like there's still a fair amount of confidence in a lot of you. Many of you weren't hit with this initially, where you had no self-worth already worked up. You've been through this before. In a lot of cases, this is a pattern that you've seen, a cycle that you've been through before, but it's not something where you have necessarily emerged victorious. And so here was, the stakes are a lot higher emotionally, an opportunity for you to come through and give it another try. And so it's a matter of truly understanding how can I say this? How never to take less than your worth ever again. This is the 6 of Earth. It's about that give and take, equal give and take of energy. And without it, there's not anything. You don't have the relationship. Without that equal give and take of energy, there really isn't anything here. And that's you. This is you recognizing that, but getting to a place where you cannot not see it. Like it's not getting any easier, because you're just recognizing that this person has has not been careful with your heart. I've said it in previous readings. They were careless. They dropped it on the floor and stepped on it right as you were sweet and gave it to them and everything. And it's an imbalanced energy that they tossed your direction. And your proper response is not to continue asking for more of it, right? I mean, to say, I would like to be properly treated or treated properly is not too much to ask. And there's some element of this you're just not coming off of, which is why the pain continues, but also it's why you're here. It's really why you're here, to develop that self-worth and to say, even though this may be very painful, I'm not going to sublimate myself to this again. So we've got the Fool here. This is you not sublimating yourself to it again, and not just assuming that things will work themselves out, because as you've seen, here's one that hasn't worked itself out and then kind of still won't allow itself. The emotions are not being allowed to be accessible to you at this time. There's a need here to allow some of this energy to kind of pass by. Part of the reason that it is difficult is because part of it is a responsibility that you have to, or you're feeling like you have, that you actually don't have the impact. You can't change this, so there's no reason that you should feel responsible for it. It's that kind of feeling. So realize that you're carrying some burdens that are going to cause a little bit of emotional burnout in you if you're not able to set these things down. But it's harder to set down than it sounds like. It sounds like, oh, obviously I should set down things that I don't have the ability to really impact. I don't have influence over. I can't change these things. So I should just not have to be responsible for worrying about it. But that's a lot like trying not to be responsible for the safety of a child, even though you can't control everything that they do. Like, you're not just going to not worry about it. It's not how it works. But there is a sense here that both of you are learning some really significant lessons. There's the transformation card, there's the completion card. The problem is sometimes when you're in the middle of that transformation, you're not able to feel it as being as helpful as it is. There is something here that has to end, and you're feeling the ending of a process that it's like the way that you handle this type of situation when it usually comes up, you are never going to be able to handle it that way again because of what you have seen in this experience. And that is perfectly fine. You really don't want to handle it that way ever again. And then you've got this guidance card. The guidance card is like the 3 of Earth energy, and it's about whether or not things are coming together to push in a direction that makes things a little bit more like workable for you. Not necessarily easier. I wanted to say easier, but I'm feeling like that's not the right word. It's not necessarily getting easier. It's getting better. It's getting stronger. You're building a foundation, and building that foundation is not easier. It is, for a little while, it feels like it's actually maybe a lot harder. There's definitely that feel to it, like you're just having to cover so much ground because it's the base of the pyramid, and you're like, what? And why am I doing this? And it just feels like it's going on and on and on, but you're building a foundation. After that, every level is smaller because as you're building a pyramid, obviously the real estate decreases as you go toward the top. But it's that first layer is a doozy. That's kind of part of what you're doing. So you've got this new vision, the new vision card, and this is like the Hanged Man. The perspective isn't here with you yet. So again, you can't necessarily see what's happening, but you do have a breakthrough or two coming your direction. They don't always feel fantastic. Sometimes breakthroughs feel like you discovered something that you are not very happy with, but now you can't unsee it. Your person has had several of these types of breakthroughs and has obviously railed significantly against them, trying to stay away from that new truth and trying not to have to register it, especially because it's real disruptive for whatever it is they've got going on in their life, and they don't want to have to go to this new place. To a certain degree, that's happening with you as well, but it's really about not so much your base values as how you handle. I mean, you do have that, but yours is more about how you handle a situation that comes in and looks like this one looked, makes you feel that how this one felt, but then doesn't treat you right and isn't very conscientious about the way that you feel. You're not somebody who is ultimately going to stand there and take that. And this is the cycle that really starts to bring it home to you. That's part of the reason that it is so much different than the others. So let's look at guidance for you, what you can do to sort of ride this out or make this better. What is your focus given what else is on this table? How do you make this easier? Okay, so we've got the King of Water in the reverse. This is about, this is interesting. I don't think we've ever gotten advice like this before. It's kind of it's like thought stopping is almost the sound, the feel that comes with it, the sound. It's almost got the feel of thought stopping because it's one of those things where when you catch yourself going down a bad self-talk road that is not going to help you feel better about yourself, it's you're recommended to derail that. But this is a little bit more this is a little bit more strong it's a little bit stronger than simply derailing it. Okay, so you need to deeply understand yourself and what the value is that you bring, because there is a significant value that you bring that it seems like you're not really giving yourself the proper amount of credit for. You're willing to overlook it because you're willing to place a higher priority on what's happening with your person. Unfortunately, though, it can't improve until until you prioritize your development more than prioritizing your connection with them. You're at a point now where that's really kind of what that next step is going to look like, is prioritizing your development. But with this Knight of Water, it's like thought stopping, but it's saying, all right, when your thoughts start to get obsessive about the situation, what do you do? How do you move it into a more practical and useful space? So we've got the Rebel card, and this one is it is about wanting to control the situation. It's an unbalanced Emperor energy, but it's about wanting to kind of control the situation and be able to move forward with using processes that you've used in the past. Unfortunately, though, it's really not, you're not being allowed to pass because those processes no longer work. It's like a card that has reached its limit. When you try to use it, it is declined. So there is no more running away from this and strong arming it and controlling it. There is something about this that is now going to go beyond illusion. You're going to have to look more deeply into yourself. Might be uncomfortable, but I don't get the sense that you're unhappy with what you find there. You lose a little bit of your innocence as you go in through this, and it takes a bit of a toll on you. So we have a little bit of this exhaustion here, but this is part of why if you are continuing to be in separation with this person and that's what's not getting easier, this is part of what has to happen before you can really start going back up the mountain again. You have to finish going down. You have to finish getting to that point of, all right, I'm ready to stop thinking about this quite as much. But I feel like you're getting there in a lot of cases. For those of you where it just doesn't seem like it's getting any easier, I would say that there does continue to be light at the end of the tunnel. This is not just something that kind of has no hope. There's a sense of needing to, I guess, get in there and figure out how to trust yourself. So this is inner child work. This is figuring out where you need the support, because for everybody that answer is going to be a little bit different. And it's learning to let go of something too. We've got the Miser card, which is a 4 of Earth. Both of these being in reverse, though, these I don't think are I love to see these when it comes to your healing, because this is about letting go of attachments, and not only attachments, but attachments to the outcomes of the situation, not just the attachments to the situations themselves, and assumptions about it, but also, just kind of releasing all limitations so that anything could happen. But here, this is self-trust, and this makes this possible. So when you have that trust in yourself, which, by the way, is one of the things that you're building during this very unyielding, painful sort of experience, as that self-trust starts to come out, your ability to let things go that no longer need to stay within your purview is going to get better. This is going to get easier. The process itself is going to go on for a little while, but the process is. All right, guys, it happened again. So I'm going to have to figure out what's going on and make sure that I overhaul my equipment here if needed. But you saw the very last card come out. The piece here is really about, and this is kind of the bottom line for the overall reading, this is about not having, recognizing a lack of control over the situation and ultimately being able to go with the flow. That is ultimately the most important thing that comes out here in this portion of the reading. The what can you do about it, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up intentionally this time, and I will see you again in tomorrow's reading.